Hello and welcome back to the channel. Bit of a long time no see, sorry about that. To skip over some of the formalities and just get straight into the meat and potatoes in the video, I've been a user of the iPad Pro for a couple of years now. This is the original 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I actually use this thing pretty much daily with the keyboard case. I actually find myself using this about 10 times more than I use my laptop, and that says an awful lot. Every single day, media consumption, typing emails, responding to messages from work on Slack. I mean, I do a lot of stuff using the iPad Pro. So, of course, when Apple announced the new iPad Pro, because I skipped last year's model, I decided it was probably time to go ahead and upgrade, and that did arrive just now. I actually, unfortunately, missed the delivery yesterday because I was at work. So I did work from home today, so I'd be here to receive the delivery. If you're not familiar with it, the new iPad Pro does have a few significant changes to it over even the last generation. As you can probably tell from just the front of the box here, and I'm looking kind of weird because I'm looking up to see myself, there's no more front-facing button. The bezels seem to be a lot smaller. There's no forehead and chin anymore. It's kind of uniform all the way around. And one of the big things, in my opinion, is it uses USB-C for connectivity. And I think without any further ado, I'm going to start opening things up because I'll run out of time if I don't. I did also go ahead and pick up, they released a new keyboard folio case and a new updated Apple Pencil, so of course I picked those up as well. As I mentioned, on the older iPad Pro, I use the keyboard a lot, so having an updated keyboard sounds like a great idea. Even though it was like $179, I think, or $199, it was way too expensive. It's an Apple product though, that's kind of what you expect. And the pencil, I don't know if I will ever end up really using it. I've got the original Apple Pencil here somewhere. I say somewhere because I'm not really sure, because I've only used it maybe 2 or 3 times. But this one seems like it'll be a little more convenient, so maybe I will use it a little more often. The funny thing is, with all the packaging and everything, the keyboard cover, the folio cover, is the one thing that's the most inconveniently packaged because I have to have something sharp to open it with. The iPad Pro, it has a little tab on the end. The box that the iPad came in, the cardboard box, had a tab on it you could pull to open it, so you didn't need a knife. The pencil has a pull tab on it. The box the pencil came in had a pull tab on it. The box this came in did not, and this does not. So it makes you kind of wonder what they really think of the keyboard folio case. Anyway, we'll just use a knife on it. So here is the folio case. That's got a really nice feel to it. Actually feels kind of similar to the original keyboard case, not folio case. Has kind of an interesting paint smell. Hopefully that'll go away pretty quickly. And just taking a quick look at the folio case, maybe you can see right here, the pogo pins, the connector pins are actually up here on what will be attached to the back of the iPad. This has got a bunch of magnets in it. So as opposed to the one row of connection on the side of the iPad as before, it's going to use the entire back of the new one. For the new Apple Pencil, definitely nice to have that little pull tab. And what's more, a second pull tab. So to make it even easier, got some documentation and the pencil itself. Pull off all this, and you probably won't be able to see it on the overhead video. It does say pencil right here. This side is flat. This is the side that'll be actually pushed up against the iPad. This is where it does its magnetic charging. And there's even supposed to be a tap on the side, a double tap to switch modes and stuff. So I'm looking forward to using this, even though again, probably won't use it all that much. But back to sort of the crux of the video, the reason why we're here. I ended up picking up the 256 gigabyte Wi-Fi only iPad Pro 12.9-inch model. As I said before, I have been using the 12.9-inch previous, well, first generation iPad Pro. I skipped the second generation. Kind of wish I hadn't, because it had a 120 hertz display, which was beautiful. I saw it in a store recently, and it's like, that's really nice. But oh well, too late now. Now we have the third generation. And apparently I did buy the space gray one. I wasn't sure what color I'd picked up. I think there's only space gray and silver available. I'm like 99% certain there's not a gold one, and I don't really feel like pulling my phone out to check at the moment. And as far as the sizes, again, 11-inch model and 12.9-inch model. And the storage though, it comes in 64, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. I went for the 256 because on my previous model, the 256 was more than enough. I kept probably 20 to 30 movies on there for travel all the time from sites like Vudu and Google Play Movies and iTunes. So this should be more than enough, I think. Let's go ahead and see it. All this, ooh, wow. Yep, that is definitely a little thinner than I was anticipating. I mean, I've watched other videos of people opening it and they all say the exact same thing. Wow, that's really thin. And now I have as well. I'm a real YouTuber now. I'm kind of curious though, just how they stack up side by side. Boy, look at all those fingerprints. Now, size-wise, as you can definitely tell here, the new model is just a little bit shorter, a little bit slimmer left to right. And because the older model, the first generation model, had these beveled edges and the new model does not, It doesn't feel like there's that much of a difference, but I think front to back there is a slight difference. It's not significant though, and especially once I put the folio case on there, it's not going to have much difference at all. But I like the size. I mean, I'm very glad I think that I went with this one and not the 11-inch model. Feels very good in the hands. Not that I'll be holding it like this a lot, but anyway, we've also got some documentation and presumably stickers, because, you know, more stickers to not put on things. I've only really been purchasing Apple products a lot for the last few years, and you would be surprised to see how many stickers I've got sitting in a box in the other room. These are pretty large stickers. They're kind of big. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. But much more importantly, here's our charging brick, which, as you can hopefully see here, is USB Type-C. It is an 18-watt charger, and you probably can't read the text, but it says 5 volts at 3 amps or 9 volts at 2 amps, which means that if you plug in the USB-C to Lightning cable, you should be able to charge the previous generation iPhones and the new iPhone XS and XS Max at their fastest rate, and also charge this device at a very fast rate. It also comes with a USB Type-C to Type-C cable, which I will definitely be taking out of the package and using. I don't use a lot of the cables that come included with devices, but I might end up having two for this. Anyway, topic at hand, the iPad Pro. Now, the funny thing about these newer iPad Pros, a bunch of sites I've seen have done benchmarks of the iPad Pro, the newer ones, and they actually stack up pretty close to laptops at this point. The multi-core score is just supposedly off the charts. It's way up there, and for the stuff you're going to be doing on a mobile device, it's pretty much overkill. So just to go ahead and get this out of the way early on, am I going to recommend going to this? It's going to be a real hard sell. But yeah, it's a very large iPad. It's a very quick setup process. Actually, I may go ahead and use my previous iPad to do the setup process. Old iPad, setting up new iPad. The first and only time I will have ever used the camera on the iPad. I may use it on the new one, but I don't foresee it. So that was that, and now we'll go through the whole setup process. Now here's definitely an interesting new feature for the iPad, something we've had on the iPhone for a couple of generations now. Face ID. It says iPad can recognize unique three-dimensional features from your face to unlock automatically. We'll continue. How to set up Face ID, position your face in the camera frame and then move your head in a circle. We can do that. Position your face. And of course, you're not gonna be able to see what I'm doing. Maybe if I turn here sideways, you can see some of it. And I have to do it a second time. That is super quick, super painless. Now it's setting up my Apple ID. Definitely like the way it feels in the hand. I was kind of concerned with the more sharp edges. It's not sharp at all though. It does remind me a little bit of the iPhone SE. I had that for probably a couple of years and I loved that phone. Feels like a weird step back in a way from the older iPads and the older iPhones. But either way, it is sort of moving forward. You've got the liquid retina of the display, the curved edges up here, as you can see. I have seen from other videos that the screen may not be quite as bright as you would like. Oh, it's already found a backup, so I'm going to update my backup before restoring. And as I hit that, the other iPad is now saying updating backup, and it's gonna pull settings from my older iPad. Apple Pay, I don't want to set up Apple Pay. We've got the True Tone display settings, which I tend to avoid. See without True Tone. Yeah, I definitely prefer it without it, but we'll just see. Maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. And it looks like the backup on the previous iPad has already completed. That didn't take a whole lot of time. And it's doing its restore from iCloud now. And while I'm waiting for that to finish, one of the things I've noticed with the older iPad, again, it's 2 years old at this point. It's not super old, but it is becoming a little more dated. There have been a few apps that have become kind of sluggish. Not slow, but just slower than they were. YouTube especially, but that's not really Apple's fault. That's probably more YouTube updating. But what I've noticed though is that the keyboard connection is getting a little bit more flimsy. And specifically not just the one where it attaches here, but the one where it attaches back in on itself, this little origami connection. It pops out really easily now. And I've heard that the newer keyboard folio cover is supposed to do significantly better in that respect because it's using so many more magnets for the connection. I suppose we shall see. And actually, while it's doing this, maybe I can go ahead and set up the folio case. So let's just see. Go ahead and just slide it on there. That definitely attached very quickly and easily. And just holding it up like this, I've got my hand under it just in case, but it's not moving, it's not coming out. It's not that difficult to remove, as you probably could see there. And then setting it up, it's got two different positions, one here and one there. So you just kind of notch it in there. Yeah, it's got about the same amount of strength of hold as the previous model. So not really super impressed with that. But again, you probably wouldn't want it to be super tightly in there. I think it'll get the job done for me. And I think my backup restore just finished. While we're at it, let's just see. Yep, it does magnetically attach. I did see a video where someone was vigorously shaking the whole thing trying to get this to fall off. I don't see the point in doing that myself. I think it was Max from Apple Insider who was doing that. But anyway, I'm gonna take just a minute, let this finish coming up. We'll take a quick look around it, but it's another iOS device. It's going to look, feel, sound, and smell and everything like an iOS device. So Wouldn't expect any huge surprises there. Still very interesting that this doesn't have anything around the sides to really hold it in place, so I can just kind of push on this and it comes off because it's just magnets holding it there. I'd be curious how that would work if you drop the entire thing. Is it going to pop out of this case, or is it going to be safe? I don't really carry my iPad around all that much outside of the house, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue for me, but I could see that being an issue for someone that travels with it a lot outside of a bag. I normally have it in a backpack and then I pull it out wherever I'm going to go, use it there, and then put it away. But to each their own. It is weird how I got used to the sort of origami nature of the older iPad keyboard case. Oh, we are up, we're ready to go. It says hola. Swipe up to unlock. Passcode is required to enable Face ID, and restore is completed. So we can hit continue. It's gonna continue setting up. And now we get a little bit of a walkthrough. Go home, swipe up from the bottom to go home. Ask Siri by pressing and holding the top button. And welcome to iPad. Swipe to get started. And now it's installing all of the mini apps that I have from my previous iPad. So you're not going to get a look at how this would be pristine and clean, but it has all of the settings that I would have had previously. Wonder if there's any new wallpapers. It's kind of a silly thing to look at, but just something I'm curious about. Yes, of course, it has all these wonderful looking new wallpapers. I'll just pick one over here. So now we should have a new wallpaper. Oh, that's nice. That's swanky. And it has the perspective feel, so when you move it around, it gets a little bit different, but it's not overwhelming. Swipe down from the top right to get your control center now. Swipe down from the middle to get all your notifications. Swipe up from the bottom to do multitasking, but I haven't really done anything except for these two items, which you can just swipe away. I see there's a finish setting up your iPad button. Set up Apple Pay. I don't want to set up Apple Pay. There we go, got away from it. Kind of curious how Face ID works on this, so let me just turn sideways. Oh, it's already unlocked. Okay, maybe you can see it there. It is locked. Now if I turn it toward myself, it's unlocked immediately. It's definitely gotten a lot faster from the original iPhone 10. Now the 10s, 10s Max, and the new iPad all use Face ID, and it has gotten better every single time. And that's due to the, what is it, the T2 chip, I think? I don't know enough about the hardware behind it, but there is an updated, newer chip that's supposedly significantly better. It's even supposed to work when the iPad is turned sideways or upside down. Let's just see. Did that, it unlocked immediately. We'll use it upside down. And it's unlocked immediately. You swipe up, use it in whatever orientation you want. I like that. It's even supposed to give you a little notification if you've got your hand covering it. Let's see if you see that. It says camera covered. So that definitely does work. And then it just unlocks. I'm a big fan of Face ID. There's a part of me that's definitely gonna miss Touch ID. I still have it on the MacBook Pro, and I'm sure the next generation MacBook Pro will be coming with that as well. Let's see how this keyboard folio case and everything work, how typing on them work. So put it up at its tall angle, start typing. Yep, it actually, the keyboard feels just like the keyboard on the original iPad Pro, the keyboard case, excuse me, which is a good thing. I definitely like it. It's soft, it's not clicky, it's quiet. I don't seem to make that many mistakes because it is a very decent sized keyboard. As you can see here, this is a very comfy typing experience. Not bad at all. Then as far as the pencil, let's just see if I put it up here on the top. It pops up and shows there is a pencil. Would you like to connect this? Yes, I would. Welcome to Apple Pencil. Explore double tap to switch between the tool and the eraser. I think they said Photoshop on the iPad, you could double tap to zoom, so different apps may treat it differently. Let's take it off and put it back on. Trying to get it to pop up and charge. Now it says Apple Pencil, 57%. So it is charging it that way as expected, and that works for me. It also seems to have synchronized up all of my widgets and everything over on this swipe over screen. Never know what to call that screen, sorry, I'm not that familiar with the terminology, but it picked up like screen time from my other devices, it's picked up the batteries in the iPad and the Pencil, app suggestions and reminders and calendar and everything else. So very early impressions, I'm definitely a big fan of the screen. It's very clean, very sleek looking. The keyboard case, it's gonna say on there because I use the keyboard a lot, and Face ID on this thing is gonna be great because not having to click that home button, I can't tell you how many times it's been 11 o'clock at night and I've been still awake but laying in bed with my wife. She's asleep and I'm watching a video or something or typing something up, and I keep having to hit the home button to switch apps. Well, I don't have to do that anymore because of no button. So very much looking forward to that. Not quite so much looking forward to not having a headphone jack. I'm still not 100% used to that. And actually with the previous iPad Pro, I was using the headphone jack quite a lot. It was very convenient to be able to just plug in a set of earbuds or something and listen to stuff without having to pair up Bluetooth or you know, you got to move forward with the times. It is USB-C, so Apple has an adapter for it. There are a bunch of adapters. I think I've actually got a USB-C to 3.5mm out there. I'll have to test out with it as well, but I'm looking forward to giving this a fair shake. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Can I recommend spending like $1,000 to get a new iPad? No. It's not something that 90% of people are ever going to need. If you are a graphics professional, if you're a person that would use the power in something like this, I'm sure you could find a way to justify it. If you're a YouTuber and you're doing this to make a video about it, you probably have already done it. Because again, the majority of what I'm going to do with this is not graphics design. It's not heavy processing anything. It's probably going to be watching a lot of YouTube and Netflix and the NBC app, using Slack and Outlook and just other sort of low-level apps that you could do with whatever. But this will be a great experience, I think. So I'm going to wrap things up there for today. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up down below. If you actually want to buy one of these things or any, I'll put links to where you can find them on like B&H and Best Buy and maybe Amazon. But thank you guys as always for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you have not already and hit that notification bell if you want to get notified when new videos come out, because they're kind of infrequent and at odd times. But I'll see you again next time. Bye guys.